all religious principles. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. The conclusion of Lord Krishna in his advice to Arjuna is, give up all other religious engagement and just surrender unto me. This is the most confidential knowledge in executing religious principles. In the Bhagavatam also it is stated that if one does not become Krishna conscious after very rigidly executing one specific religious duties, all his labor is in following so-called religious principles is simply a waste of time. Here also the sages confirm the statement that the Supreme Lord, not the demigods, is the ultimate goal of all religious principles. There are many foolish propagandists who say that worship of the demigods is also a way to reach the supreme goal. But in the authorized statements of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, that is not accepted. Bhagavad Gita says that one who worships a particular demigod can reach the demigod's planet, but one who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead can enter into Vaikuntha. Some propagandists say that regardless of what one does, he will ultimately reach the supreme abode of the Personality of Godhead. But this is not valid. The Lord is eternal, the Lord's servitor is eternal, and the Lord's abode is also eternal. They are all described here as Sanatana or eternal. The result of devotional service therefore is not temporary, as is the achievement of heavenly planets by worshipping the demigods. The sages wanted to stress that although the Lord, out of his causeless mercy, says that he worships the brahmanas and Vaishnavas, actually the Lord is worshipable all religious principles. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. The conclusion of Lord Krishna in his advice to Arjuna is, give up all other religious engagement and just surrender unto me. This is the most confidential knowledge in executing religious principles. In the Bhagavatam also it is stated that if one does not become Krishna conscious after very rigidly executing one specific religious duties, all his labor is in following so-called religious principles is simply a waste of time. Here also the sages confirm the statement that the Supreme Lord, not the demigods, is the ultimate goal of all religious principles. There are many foolish propagandists who say that worship of the demigods is also a way to reach the supreme goal. But in the authorized statements of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, that is not accepted. Bhagavad Gita says that one who worships a particular demigod can reach the demigod's planet, but one who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead can enter into Vaikuntha. Some propagandists say that regardless of what one does, he will ultimately reach the supreme abode of the Personality of Godhead. But this is not valid. The Lord is eternal, the Lord's servitor is eternal, and the Lord's abode is also eternal. They are all described here as Sanatana or eternal. The result of devotional service therefore is not temporary, as is the achievement of heavenly planets by worshipping the demigods. The sages wanted to stress that although the Lord, out of his causeless mercy, says that he worships the brahmanas and Vaishnavas, actually the Lord is worshipable not only by the brahmanas and Vaishnavas, but also by the demigods. Darshan Sri Bhaktivedanta Purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namavom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the Kumaras are continuing their prayers, their glorification of Lord Vishnu. So at every verse they give one conclusion, what they have understood from the Lord from his teachings. Tvatta Sanatano Dharma. You are that eternal religious principles, occupational duties for all living entities. Sanatano Dharma. That occupational duties which are eternal. Tvattaha, you are. Rakshate Tanubhistava. And you protected Dharma by your multi-manifestations. Tanubhis, by your appearance, by your multi-incarnations, you protect this Dharma. Dharmasya Paramo Guhyo. And you are the objective of these occupational duties, and which is most confidential. Nirvikaro Bhavan Mataha. And in our opinion, you are unchangeable. So, if it read you the translation, it says, you are the source of the eternal occupation of all living entities. Tvatta Sanatano Dharma. And by your multi-manifestations of personality of Godhead, Tanubhistava, You have always protected religion. Rakshate dharmasya. You are the supreme objective of religious principles. Paramo guhyo. And in our opinion, Bhavan mataha are inexhaustible and unchangeable eternally. Nirvikaraha. So in the purport, Prabhupada explains the comparison between demigod worship and the Supreme Lord worship. In one line, Prabhupada says, we worship demigods, we serve Lord Krishna. That is the difference. We worship devatas, but we serve the Supreme Lord. What is the difference between worship and service? Worship with adoration and something like respect, but service is out of love. So, out of love is rendered in a highest way. The sages wanted to stress that although Lord, out of his causeless mercy, says he worships the brahmanas and Vaishnavas, actually the Lord is worshipable not only by the brahmanas and Vaishnavas but also by the demigods. Because every living entity in this material world is created by the Lord. So, every living entity, it is their obligation to serve the Lord. And this most confidential principle has been stressed in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityatya, again that the word dharma uses. Mam ekam sharanam raja, he says, only shelter unto me. Aham tvam sarva papebhyaha, I'll cleanse you of all sinful reactions. Moksha ishyami masuchaha, and I'll give you liberation. Of this there is no doubt. Sankochaha, there is no doubt in this. This is the ultimate principle of Bhagavad Gita. And similarly in Bhagavatam, now in this verse it says, Dharmasya paramo guhyo. The most confidential part of all religious principles is, the objective of all religious principles is the Supreme Lord. Now, the Lord is eternal, the Lord's service is eternal, and the Lord's abode is also eternal. They are all described as Sanatana. So, one more quality, the Jiva's quality, the Lord's quality, and the Vaikuntha abode quality, they are all eternal in nature. Because the contrast to that material world is explained, this material world is temporary, and what is that verse? 8.15. This is material world is temporary and Dukkhalayam ashashvatam, Dukkhalayam, place of misery, and temporary again. We may say, because Krishna said this is a place of misery, tolerate. In the second chapter he was insisting you have to tolerate tam sitikshashva bharata. But people might say, okay, I will tolerate it. But Krishna is saying this is not eternal. So what should be done? What is this dharma? How do we understand this dharma? See, in Bhagavatam, many places, this emphasis is given about worship of the Supreme, or serving the Supreme Lord out of love and devotion. So, in the first canto itself, the duty for every living entity has been stressed, where Suta Goswami, while answering the questions to sages of Naimisharanya, he says, Atah pumbir dvijashreshta varnashrama vibhagashaha swanustisasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshan. See, entire creation has been divided in such a way, varna and ashrama, chaturvarnya maya shishtam guna karma vibhagashaha. Krishna clearly said, this entire society is divided by me based on guna karma. Now, according to that guna karma, everybody have chosen their occupational duties. Now, with their occupational duties, what they should do? Atah pumbir dvijashreshta. Oh, my dear brahmanas, pumbihi, for all the people in general. So, for all living entities, atah pumbir, varnashrama vibhagashaha. This entire society has been divided into varnashramaha. Swanustisasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. So, by discharge of duties, dharmasya, prescribed by one's occupation, swanustitasya, samsiddhir haritoshanam, one should work in this direction to please the Supreme Personality of God. At the end of the life, by our endeavors, what we should do? We should worship the Supreme Lord and we should please the Supreme Lord. So, samsiddhir haritoshanam, we should work for his satisfaction. So, this is the dharma for all the living entities. But at the end of the life, if you have not developed that love of Godhead, next it says, Shrameva hi kevalam. All our endeavors are useless, futile. No, this varnashrama system, if you don't follow, what will happen? Bhagavatam says further, Yashashriyam eva parishrama paro varnashrama achara tapas shrutadishu avismruti sridhara pada padmayor gunanuvada shravana adaradibihi. Parah parishramaha. In this material world we do heavy endeavor, great endeavor. Parah parishramaha for what? Varna ashrama acharaha, and tries to execute, everybody tries to execute all the rules and regulations as per religious duties of varna ashrama system. Everybody are trying to follow. So nowadays what is happening is we get carried away by most of the times this posts from social media. Like last Ekadasi, somebody propagated, on this one day if you do particular Nirjala Ekadasi, it is equivalent to following all the Ekadasis. The others you need not follow. But Shastra never gave that recommendation. It was given to one specific personality called Bhima. But it did not generalize for everyone. We are not Bhima. So today also again Ekadasi. What is the special of today's Ekadasi? Today is called as Shayana Ekadasi. From today Chaturmasya starts. So this 4 months of the period Lord goes to sleep. From here all the Vedic ascetics means its rainy season has started. So people who are continuously nomads like sannyasis who keep roaming every day, they take rest from now onwards. For 4 months they stay at one particular place. They increase their bhakti to the Lord by staying at that place and by preaching to the local people there. And in a place, because they are staying, they don't want to increase their touch of sense gratification perspective. They restrain themselves by eating certain things which are restricted, like high protein content, they stop eating. Like shark, which is high protein content. They refrain one month. This is also said, as rains come, the leafy vegetables will be full of worms. So one way, by avoiding them, we are also avoiding killing that worms and other perspective. Next curds, next milk, next urad dal. Basically trying to restrain our senses. Tapasya. And again after 4 months, one more Ekadasi will come, which is called as Uttana Ekadasi, where Lord wakes up from the sleep. So the Chaturmasya is ended there. So for us, any Ekadasi is the same, for us, because it is the opportunity for us to remember the Lord more. Ekadasi is also known as Harivasara, a day to worship Lord Hari. So religious principles are given in such a way that they will encourage us to bring closer to the Lord. But now what is happening is, people sometimes out of half knowledge or unclear information, they start propagating something wrong. So we have to be very careful. We have to understand what Shastra actually says. So this Varnashrama system, how it is defined, what it is purpose is defined in Bhagavatam. It says, Tapashruta Adishu. People are endeavoring in this world to practice religious principles for what? In performing austerities, in hearing from Vedas, so that Yashashriyam evacha, they become popular in this world. They gain name and fame in this world. Why do people work hard in this world? They want to become celebrities. They wanted to become popular. But Gunanuvada Shravana Adara Adibihi, by respecting and attentively hearing the Lord's qualitative pastimes, Avismrutihi Sridhara Pada Padmayo, one can remember the lotus feet of the Lord. The whole perspective is, you follow all these principles not for name, fame, Yashashriyaha, not to gain money in this world, not to gain name in this world. So that our principles are to remember the Pada Padmayo of Sridhara. We become continuously attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, and we develop attachment to that lotus feet. And we will be able to remember that lotus feet of the Lord is the perfection of this Varnashrama Dharma. What happens if you remember Lord Krishna's lotus feet? Next it says, Avismruti Krishna Padara Vindayo, if you remember the lotus feet of the Lord, Kshinoti Abhadrani Cha Samtanoti, all unwanted things, Abhadrani Kshinoti, they will be vanished. Cha Samtanoti, you will gain all auspicious things. All bad things will go away, all positive things will come to you, just by remembering the lotus feet of the Lord. Sattvasya Shuddhim Paramatma Bhaktim. Then next stage is our heart becomes purified. Well, all the unwanted things from the heart are cleansed off, heart becomes purified. Sattvasya Shuddhim. When heart is purified, the next stage is Paramatma Bhaktim. We develop devotional service to the Lord, love for the Lord. Paramatma Bhaktim. Jnanam cha Vijnana Viraga Yuktam. Then based on our realization, we develop attachment with knowledge and detachment. Just by remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, how systematically everything we develop. So this is the purpose of engaging in devotional perspective. Dharmasya paramo guhya is to develop that attachment to the lotus feet of the Lord. So Krishna also, he had accepted various incarnations. But what is the purpose of these incarnations? As explained in Bhagavatam, one place. In Krishna clearly said in Bhagavad Gita, why does he come many times? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyudhanama dharmasya tadatmanam sujamyaham. Whenever, wherever there is a decline in religious principles, whenever, wherever there is irreligion which becomes prominent, Lord comes to handle this situation. So similar things in Bhagavatam also he says, Niriksha balam Krishna, Niriksha tad balam Krishna, Vudvelam iva sagaram. So this was Jarasandha when he attacked Mathura. He came with a huge army, so much Akshohini army. So Niriksha tad balam Krishna, when Krishna saw the opposite army's strength, Vudvelam iva sagaram, it is like an ocean which was ready to overflow. Swapuram tena samruddham, they attacked, they surrounded the entire Mathura city. Swajarabcha Bhayakulam, all the people of Mathura started feeling fear because of so much army trying to attack Mathura. Chintayamase Bhagavan, Krishna started contemplating, what should I do to remove the Bhaya of the people of Mathura? Hari Karana Manushaha, Lord Hari, Lord Krishna, who is Karana Manushaha, who has accepted a human form for a specific purpose, Karana. He is the cause, for a specific cause, he has accepted a human-like form, Karana Manushaha. Taddesha Kalanugatam, according to time, place, circumstances, who knows what to do. Swa Avatara Prayojanam, according to his various incarnations, he decides, according to time, place, circumstances, how he has to react. So he started contemplating what he should do right now. Hanishyami balam hi etad. So Krishna is saying, I will kill all his army. Hanishyami balam hi etad. Bhuvibaram samahitam. The purpose of the Lord is to reduce the bhubara. The demoniac people, when they are many in number, the burden of the earth gets increased. And specific purpose of the Lord is to come to this world is to reduce the burden of the earth. So by killing this unwanted army, Krishna is saying, Bhuvibaram samahitam, I will reduce the burden of the earth. Magadena samanitam, all the assembled army whom the Magadha king had assembled, Jarasandha. Vasyanam sarva bhubujam, by subduing all the other kings, bringing them under control, he accumulated so much army. Akshohnibihi sankyatam, a heavy Akshohni army, so much count was there, sankyatam. It consists of Bata, Ashva, Rata, Kunjaraihi. So Akshohni means combination of 4 categories of Chatvaraha army: foot soldiers, horses, elephants and chariots. Magadastu na hantavyaha, I am not going to kill Jarasandha. Bhuyaha karta balodayam, again he will go back to bring his army again. So that one reason why Jarasandha was not killed, because so much army he has accumulated, so that army has to be wiped out. All the bhubara, all the demoniac people. I think Krishna had 18 times he spared Jarasandha, and 18 times Jarasandha came with huge army, and Krishna killed all that army except Jarasandha. So much army has been accumulated, and each time that army was more than the army of Kuruksetra. More than 18 Akshohanis was the army what Jarasandha was bringing. Etat artho avataroyam, and this is the purpose of my incarnation. Avataroyam etat artha, this is my objective. Bhubara haranayacha, to reduce the burden of the earth. Bhubara haranayacha. Samrakshanaya sadhunam, to protect the devotees. Samrakshanaya sadhunam. Kruto anyesham vadayacha, to remove all the discreants, to protect the devotees and to kill the demons. Anyopi dharma rakshayai deha sambriyate maya viramayapi adharmasya kale prabhavata kvachit. Anyopi deha sambriyate maya. I accept various other bodies also, various other incarnations. For what? Dharma rakshasyati, to protect dharma, religious principle. And viramapi adharmasya, to remove a religion. Because kale prabhavata kvachit, according to time, place, circumstances, dharma becomes vanished. Adharma becomes prominent. So time and time I come, accept various incarnations to protect dharma and to annihilate this adharma. So Krishna himself is saying why does he take various incarnations? This is the same thing what the Kumaras are certifying. You come systematically to protect this dharma, to make people devoted to you. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, while explaining to Sanatana Goswami, explains about this most confidential subject, Paramo Guhya. He says, Krishna Nitya Dasa Jivataha Bhuli Gela E Dosha Mayatare Galaya Bandiya. So, Krishna Nitya Dasa Jivataha Bhuli Gela. Jiva, when a Jiva forgot Bhuli Gela, Krishna Nitya Dasa, that he is eternal servant of Lord Krishna, E Dosha, because of this fault, Mayatare Galaya Bandiya. Maya caught his hold of his neck with a chain at the rope, caught hold of him and started dragging him. Shishi Radha Govinda. So, Tate Krishna Bhaje Kare Gurura Sevana, those who worship Lord Krishna and those who engage in the service of the spiritual master. Maya Jale Chute Paye Krishnera Charana. They become free from the net of Maya. Maya Jale Chute Paye Krishnera Charana. They attain the lotus feet of the Lord. Chari Varnashrama Yedi Krishna na Bhaje Swakarma Karite say Raurava Padi Maje. Simply by being in the Chari Varnashrama and they do not worship Lord Krishna, they go to hell and suffer in the hell, it seems. Because all our activities in this material world are karma, reactive. There is no bhakti. All the activities will only be engaging in fruitive terminology, and fruitive terminology encourages one for sense gratification, and sense gratification results in suffering of hell. Krishna Tomara Hana Yedi Bole Ekabara. If you say one time that Krishna is, I am Krishna, Krishna, I belong to you. Sirf one time if you say. Maya Bandha Hoite Krishna Tare Kare Pata. So Krishna liberates him from that Maya Bandha. Just by one time saying, my dear Krishna, from today I am yours. Krishna takes it so seriously, it seems, that he is ready to deliver us from the cycle of birth and death, from this influence of this Maya. Bhukti Mukti Siddhikami Subuddhi Yedi Hoya. In this world, we are all after Mukti, liberation, Bhukti, sense enjoyment, and Siddhi, or for material perfection. Subuddhi Yedi Hoya, if they become intelligent enough, Subuddhi Yedi Hoya, Gada Bhakti Yoge Tabe Krishnera Bhajaya. They become very sincere in their devotional service to the Lord, and they worship Lord Krishna in a very fervent, very strong perspective. Anyakami Yadi Kare Krishnera Bhajana. If any other desire also, if you come to Krishna, Na Magite Krishna Tare Dena Swacharana. Even if you have not asked for Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna voluntarily gives his lotus feet, it says. Just by approaching Krishna with any desire, Krishna gives them an opportunity at his lotus feet. Krishna kahe, Ame baje, mage vishaya sukha. People come to me, worship me, and they ask for sense enjoyment, vishaya sukha. Amruta chadi vishamage, ei bada murka. He says he is a foolish man who wants to take poison, leaving the nectar. Ami Vijna, ei murka vishya kene diba. Because I am intelligent, why I should give him poison when there is opportunity for nectar? Swacharnamrita diya vishya bhulaiba. I will give him a taste of my lotus feet so that he will forget what is the sense enjoyment. Kamalagi Krishna baje paya Krishna rase kamachadi dasa hoite hoya abhilashe. So, for the desire, if you worship Lord Krishna, Kamalagi Krishna Bhaje, Paya Krishna Rase, we develop the taste for serving the Lord. Krishna rase we develop. Kamachadi dasa hoite hoya abhilashe. Then instead of desiring, we become the servants of the Lord Krishna. Samsara brahmite kona bhagye keha tare. In this world, people are struggling in this world. Koi one person who becomes fortunate enough, nadira pravahena kasta lage tire. The many logs will be floating in the river. By chance, one log will come to the shore. So similarly, in this world of samsara chakra, we'll be wandering from various living entities. One person comes to the shore of accepting Krishna consciousness. Kona bhagya karo samsara kshayonmukha hoya sadhu sange tabe Krishna rati upajaya. By some good fortune, he gets an opportunity to associate with sadhus. Then, sadhu sange tabe Krishna rati upajaya. He develops attachment for Lord Krishna. Sadhu sange Krishna bhakte shraddha yadi hoya. In the association of sadhus, if he becomes very faithful, shraddha, if he develops very sincerity, bhakti phala prema hoya samsara hoya kshaya. His material world life will be finished and he will develop that phala, bhakti phala, that is love of Godhead. Mahat kripa vina kona krame bhakti naya. Unless serving the Vaishnavas, there is no chance of attaining bhakti. Krishna bhakti dure rahu, samsara nahe kshaya. What to say of Krishna bhakti? Even this material world you will not be able to become liberated. Mahat sevam is the only opportunity to develop that love for the Lord. Krishna kripalu arjunere lakshya kariya, jagatere rakiyachena upadeshadiya. Keeping Arjuna as a target, Krishna spoke these Bhagavad Gita principles so that the entire world becomes benefited by that instructions. Purva ajna Veda Dharma Karma Yoga Jnana Sabha Sadi Sheshe E Ajna Balavan. So Krishna explained about in Bhagavad Gita various subjects about Veda Dharma, Karma, Yoga, Jnana, and the cultivation of Jnana, and the instructions are most powerful and they stand above others, all others. What is that? E ajna bole bhaktera shraddha yadi hoya sarva karma tyaga kari say Krishna bhajaya. So if devotee has a strength, has faith in the strength of the Lord's order, he worships Krishna and gives up all other activities. So this is the purpose what Krishna made through Bhagavad Gita. He explained various items and he ascertained bhakti is the supreme. So people when you compare, they require why one is best and why one is not best. So he explained about what is problem with karma, what is problem with jnana, what is problem with ashtanga yoga. And finally he concluded why bhakti is best. So to establish the principles of bhakti, Krishna explained various reasons through Arjuna so that the entire world becomes benefited. And this is that paramo guhyaha, the most confidential region of the dharma. So similarly, in Bhagavad Gita, we all come across that first verse, Dharmaksetra, Kuruksetra. The place Kuruksetra, how it became Dharmaksetra. What is so special in Kuruksetra? How Kuruksetra became evolved is explained in various Puranas, where Lord Vishnu explains about this pastime to demigods, how Kuruksetra became famous. He says, in the beginning of Satyuga, there was a powerful king by name Riksha, who was born in the dynasty of Chandra Vamsha. So Riksha, after at certain age, he gave the throne to his son Samvarana, and he renounced the world. So that boy was only a mere child only at that time. He has not even become an elderly man, Samvarana. So Vasishtha, who was the priest of the family and the spiritual master, he imparted Samvarana about all the Vedic principles and the instructions. So when his studies were complete, Samvarana went to forest, leaving the affairs in the state of Vasishtha. So he went to the forest for hunting in the forest known as Vaibhraja. Because they were all Kshatriyas and they became intoxicated by drinking wine, when he was traveling, he was in a very intoxicated mood. The horse was going, but he was in an intoxicated, delirious mode he was traveling. So he came across one beautiful forest where there were heavenly apsaras, where they were all playing around with all their female companions. He specifically became attracted to one lady, and by seeing her beauty, because of that infatuation and all, he fell down from the horse because he was in an intoxicated mood. Then people started laughing at him because suddenly he fell down from the horse. A great king fell down from the horse. So few Gandharvas came there, helped him regain his consciousness. Then they brought him back to normal stage. That lady also, who became fascinated by this king, she also became unconscious by seeing the king falling unconscious. Her companions also brought her back to, by sprinkling water, and they also brought her back to consciousness. So then the king went back, the girl also went back, but whole day the king was only thinking of that girl, and the girl was also thinking only of that king. Seeing that mood of that disciple, Vashishta thought, I think he is in love with that girl, so he wanted to get him married. So one day he went to Surya Loka, he worshipped Lord sun god, Surya Narayana. Then Surya asked him what is the purpose of his visit. Then he explained, Vashishta explained about the entire situation, that he was the priest of so and so king. One day when he went to forest, he saw your daughter by name Tapati. He became infatuated by her, he wanted to marry her. He is a good man with all religious standing, coming in a good lineage. So I vouch for him that he is a very better personality, he is a suitable husband for your daughter. Rest assured, you can give your daughter to him. So sun god also, because a great sage was recommending, he also agreed, and he consented and he gave his daughter, so that the daughter can be given in marriage. So that girl was brought back to Vashishta's ashrama, and when she came, and she was also explaining about her mood, because she saw so and so king, she was explaining that she only wanted to marry him, and she wanted him only as the husband, and she does not want anybody else. Then Vashishta also explained to her, yes, I have brought here to hand him over to him only. My dear daughter, I know of your mood and mentality, that's why I have planned for your marriage for your both of you. So in the meantime, the king also came there to the ashrama, he paid obeisances. When he saw that beautiful girl standing next to that Vashishta, then he asked, who is this girl? And what is the reason she is here? Then Vashishta explained the entire thing, how he went to sun god, how he pleaded on his behalf and brought his daughter for the marriage. And the marriage was performed. And over a period of time, they, in a very religious way, they were living. They had a son whom they named him as Kuru. So this boy from his childhood was very sincere and serious, and was worshipping very nicely the Supreme Lord, and also engaging in all categories of activities. After he was trained, he was given the kingdom in charge, and he went away. He was also married, Kuru was also married. Now Kuru also wanted, after establishing this his empire, now he wanted to become famous, he wanted to do some activity by which he becomes celebrated. So what he did, he went to various places of pilgrimage. At that time he came to this place known as Shamanta Panchaka, which is today's Kuruksetra, where Lord Parashurama he had killed various army of 22 times he killed the army of various kings, and 5 lakes were established there. So that place was known as Shamanta Panchaka, today's Kuruksetra, that is the place there. Then he wanted to do something special, so he took up a golden plough, the king, and he made the bull of Lord Shiva and the buffalo of Yamaraja yoked to that plough, and he started digging that place. So when an emperor was digging that place, then all the people, it became a news, a breaking news. Everybody started coming there and saying, emperor is ploughing, what is he trying to grow? So Indra also came there and he asked him, what are you trying to do? He said, I am planning to grow dharma here. Then people started laughing at him, dharma, how you can grow? Then, but because of his sincerity, he had been ploughing that entire area. That news reached Lord Vishnu. Then Lord Vishnu came there, then asked him, what are you trying to do? He said, I am trying to grow dharma. Then what is dharma? Then he said, these 8 principles form dharma. What are that 8 principles that hold on to dharma? Austerity, truthfulness, forgiveness, kindness, purity, generosity, yoga, and celibacy. These are the 8 principles that form the basis of dharma. So I am trying to grow this cultivation of these 8 principles here. So after hearing that, Vishnu started saying, then where are the seeds? If you have to grow, seeds are required. Then the king said, the seeds are there in my heart. Because king represent all these principles in this world. Then he said, all that principles are there within my body. So then Lord Vishnu said, give me that principles, I will sow here. So from his body, he started cutting various bodily parts and started giving to the Lord, and the Lord started planting them within that area. At the end, Lord became very satisfied by his sincerity to make that place celebrated for the Dharma. Lord blessed him. What benediction do you want? So there Kuru said, from today, this place will be known on my behalf. And anybody does tapasya here, he will achieve the fastest benefit in this world. So that's why, because that place where King Kuru had plowed that area, because that is a cultivation ground, it is called as Kshetra, it became Kuruksetra. From that day, it became celebrated as Kuruksetra. And because Dharma was being cultivated in that area, it became known as Dharmaksetra. In that way, it became a celebrated place where Pandavas had visited there, where war has supposed to happen, where Dharma is always protected in that area, where irreligion will be removed from that area. That's why all the irreligion-based Kauravas have been assembled there, had been killed by the Lord, and Dharma, the Pandavas have been protected by the Lord. This is how the Lord establishes Dharma at various places and various circumstances according to time, place and circumstance. So we'll see further how Lord performs various pastimes, or various qualities of the Lord will be enumerated by Kumaras in the further verses. I'll stop here. Any questions or doubts? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की हिताय गौर प्रेमानंद।